Clinton XL 92.5 FM.
All right, today, welcome to the program on this Thursday. Thanks to our friends at Stanley Pools, as always on a Thursday. The new drug today is a new team to follow. Hacker Nation's here, JJ LaSelva as well. I'm Frank Frangie. I could tell you more about the current Utah Jazz than I bet you thought I knew.
I was stunned a couple of minutes ago. You walked in breaking down the starting lineup. I said they had 19 wins. You corrected me immediately. No, that's 17 wins.
17 and 65, by the way.
You're going to get the NBA League Pass to follow Walter Clayton Jr.
Here's what I will tell you. In the, their record in their last 23 games?
I imagine it was pretty. Oh, they beat Orlando twice. I'm not sure if that was in the last 23 or not.
They did not. Neither one of those games fell in the last 23.
Okay, so it was probably pretty bad then.
2-21.
Yeah, well,
that's what Walt's got coming.
That's what happens.
2-21.
Well, and the crazy thing, they were supposed to have the number one pick, right? And they actually got the business in the lottery.
Right.
Got sent to 5, but yet they're the big winners with Ace Bailey and Walter Clayton Jr.
I thought it was. I said this, the handoff to the boys. I don't watch the NBA draft. I might peek at it because it is a major draft, but for me to watch the NBA draft past the first 2 or 3 picks, dude, I had some work to do, so I kind of was sitting at the computer doing stuff. But I watched until he got picked. Mm-hmm. Did you watch?
Oh, yeah, I was locked in. I was on the air for the first 15 picks. By the way, the NBA, I understand why they moved it to a 2-night event. I guess they wanted to elaborate on every pick. Yeah. A 4-hour first round. That thing ended at midnight.
Yeah, I don't know about you, JJ. I checked out after 18.
Well, I had to stay up till 25. That's where Orlando was.
JJ, how much did you? I know you were working.
I was at work. I got home and immediately just put it on because I wanted to see where Clayton Jr. went. Yeah. And he got picked literally as I walked in the door, and I turned it off.
Okay.
But I got a beef with the whole production. I gotta say it right away.
Okay.
They've been doing this for years, so it's not an ESPN thing or a TNT thing. It's an NBA thing. They know the trade's happening. Like, they know that Clayton got traded to the Jazz, but they refuse to put the Jazz hat on him, and they make him do an interview with a different team. And so, it's very confusing, the entire broadcast. And in the NBA, there's way more trades than the NFL.
Yeah.
So, the bottom half of the first round last night, every single guy was traded, and they're all wearing the wrong hats. It's so stupid.
And I agree with that. And watching it, I mean, again, I understand. You know how this is. You're on your laptop.
Yeah,
doing
exactly.
Stuff.
I was talking to my wife. Yeah. I was confused.
I'm watching. I'm on my laptop. So when they start talking about him, you know he's about to get picked, and he gets picked. I was confused where he went.
Yeah.
So I'm watching it. I'm trying to send an email. I'm sending an email. I'm watching it. I got my phone right there. And I'm thinking, did he go to the Wizards?
Yeah.
And then, no, he didn't go to the Wizards. I mean, he did go to the Wizards, but he didn't go to the Wizards because they traded, and I'm trying to watch that. So
the only reason I know is because I texted Hack, and I'm like, Wizards, because he was real concerned about the Heat.
I did not want him to go to Miami.
Yeah, and then he's like, actually, no, it's the Jazz.
I'm happy he's going out west, because if he would have been with Washington, we would have had to play him 4 times a year.
Right.
But now I can root for him. We play Utah twice a year, whatever. I'll tell you this, for Utah Jazz fandom, Frank, apparently Elijah Martin worked out twice for them.
I saw that.
So could they, and they have 3 picks tonight.
Going to run that back.
Oh, man.
Going to run it back is what they're going to do.
If they get Elijah Martin and Walter Clayton on the same team.
And you're wondering if I'm getting that NBA League Pass. I mean, you know what? I may buy it.
Season tickets.
I may buy it twice is what I might do. And let me tell you what, and I'm going to tell you, I think to be a sports talk show host, you got to have sports knowledge, okay? If you're not,
it certainly helps.
If you don't have the kind of sports knowledge people like us have, I mean, just deep sports knowledge, okay? I don't think you can do the job without, okay? So let me just tell you how deeply embedded I am into the NBA, okay? And I'm always honest. You know me, Hacker. You've known me forever. I'm always honest. I had no idea Danny Ainge was running the show over there. Okay,
Oh, yeah.
I know. I mean,
his son.
I would. And Austin Ainge is now the director of operations. Number one, I didn't know he had a son. He's got 6 children apparently because I did a lot of reading today. But I had no idea. I mean, I did know, as we all did, that Danny Ainge is the guy that built the Celtics championship team.
Sure.
He's the guy that went and brought Garnett and Ray Allen to play with Paul Pierce.
He's one of the best front office people in the game.
And that was the Celtics, who had been down forever. When we all remember that. Danny Ainge got in there, and he went and brought Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen to play with Paul Pierce. and they went to the playoffs like 15 times in 20 years after they hadn't been hardly at all. So I knew that.
People were screaming Rajon Rondo was a bad pick.
Yeah, right.
That turned out to be pretty good as well.
Yes, so we all remember that. But I, for the life of me, did not know he had gone to the Jazz. Am I the only guy that didn't? Am I the only guy in America that didn't know that? I did not know that.
I knew it. I'm happy I wasn't quizzed about it because I had honestly forgotten.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew it. I remember when it happened, and then I had just. How often do you talk about the Utah Jazz? Except of their 17 victories, as I mentioned last year, 2 of them were against Orlando. Yeah. They actually swept us.
Is that something everybody knew that Ainge was running
in the
basketball
world? Yeah,
I guess so.
But I mean, if you're a casual sports fan, you don't know like the front office people of really any team.
Yeah, but we knew all about that whole Celtics thing.
Oh yeah, when he left to the Jazz, it was a huge story.
Yeah,
but they've been really crappy.
Yeah, he's not done a good job there. So, but again, his son Austin is like the director of basketball ops, and Ainge is he weaning himself off?
He's like the CEO. I don't know.
Yeah, he's the CEO of the team.
But everyone when they talk about like who runs things at the Jazz, it's still him.
Yeah, I would think. But when I'm reading that, I'm thinking to myself, you got to be as sports radio hosts go. You got to be the only dumbass in the country that didn't know Danny. We all know Danny Ainge.
Right.
You got to be the only guy in the country that didn't know Danny Ainge was running the Jazz. I had no idea.
Have you embraced the nickname already of Walt Lake City instead of Salt Lake City?
Wow. Look at you.
Yeah.
You know what? Like we're going to sneak something by you.
That's picking up traction, man.
I had not heard that. But as big a fan as I am, of course I'll get the T-shirt.
T-shirts in the mail.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
probably happening.
I'm a big Walter Clayton fan. By the way, he just delivered my alma mater a national championship. But way more than that, I like everything about him. I like the way he carries himself. I like the fiance, the kid,
very
the mom.
emotional.
I like them all. I thought it was really cool. It was emotional right when he got picked.
Yeah, his daughter, his 18-month-old daughter, that was spectacular last night.
I thought the whole thing. I thought it was wonderful. And I'll say it again. He's the greatest player in Florida basketball history. Now, I'm not saying most talented. He's the greatest player in their history. There's only 10 players in Florida history, 10 who have ever been regular starters on a national championship team. There's only 10. The first 5 did it twice, and this 5. That's it. Mm-hmm. That's it. So in the history of the program, only 10 have done it, and nobody elevated the team. Not Brewer, Horford, Noah. Nobody elevated their team, not Mike Miller, not Jason Williams, to a championship like this guy did. You agree or disagree?
Yeah, I'm not old enough to speak intelligently about Neil Walker, Vernon Maxwell.
Yeah.
But the ones that I've seen, which probably started with that 94 team with Lon Kruger. Right. I mean, he's on my Mount Rushmore. It's just hard for me to say. I mean, I guess it's the definition, all right? Popularity-wise, it's always going to be Joakim Noah. If you're talking about the best basketball player, is Walter Clayton a better basketball player than Joakim Noah? Yeah, but they're just two completely different guys.
Yeah, and that's a different argument. The in terms of who's got more natural talent, that isn't always the answer. I mean, I will say until Tim Tebow came along, Danny Werfel was by far the greatest player in their history. But there's a lot of guys that had stronger arms and ran faster and were bigger, but he was the greatest player in Florida. You can make the argument now that Tebow's the greatest. It's one of the two, so but this guy – they won the national championship.
In miraculous fashion, too.
Yeah, and those other 3 guys were wonderful players, but they had each other.
Right.
He didn't have each other. Okay, I made the comment during the season they were doing this without any NBA players, but that was wrong. He's one.
I think Martin gets drafted tonight, too.
I think Elijah Martin, because he's such a good athlete, he get drafted tonight. I'd be very surprised if he ever impacts the league. I just don't know that he's got, in my opinion.
Second-round picks rarely do.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if he ever impacts the league. I think of the remaining guys still there, Houck could impact the league. Condon in a different way. That's about it.
Yeah.
There's nobody else on that, in my opinion, that was on that team last year that can impact the game. You agree with that?
Oh, I agree with that. I mean, Chinyalu is a little better offensive version of Donnell Harvey, and Harvey was a first-round pick that flamed out.
Yeah, Chinyalu could be on somebody's bench, give you minutes off. He's physical. He's physical enough to play with the physical guys in the NBA. But he's not impacting the league.
And he can't shoot.
Yeah, he's not going to impact the league. But anyway, I do. I feel like Walter Clayton, it was fun. It was a fun watch last night. So we'll talk a little bit about that coming up a little bit later on in the program about Walter Clayton, about the Utah Jazz. 17 wins last year, 2-21 their last 23. I'll go right through it.
You're breaking down Laurie Markkinen and Colin Sexton.
I'll give you numbers though. I'm just getting started with Markkinen and Sexton. Okay, we'll give them all to you.
Now I'm old school Jazz. I can break down Malone, Stockton, Hornacek, Isley, Ostertag.
Well, heck, I can do that.
Well,
okay?
Yeah, Byron Russell. I was talking
about all the guys. Yeah, Byron Russell, the guy who didn't block Jordan's shot.
Yes.
We could all do that stuff. All right, but we'll talk a little about that a little bit later on in the program. A very interesting story. ESPN.com, I think it was Aaron Schultz maybe wrote it, about what every team should add going into the NFL season.
Shats.
He went through, is it Shats?
Yeah.
He went through all 32 teams and one more move. One more move. It might be extend a guy. It might be add a guy. Aaron Schatz. Thank you for that. And but it got me thinking a little. So we got a little Jaguar topic coming up. If we get to baseball today, and I know you're a diehard fan, Hack, and have been for years.
Hey, we've taken the first 2 at Kauffman Stadium. We're 10 games over 500 now.
How many Rays players could you name?
All time or right now?
Great answer.
All time. It's a lot different.
By the way, you don't even need to go on. That is such a good answer. And I hear you.
I think he's got 3 or 4 in him for sure.
Yandy Diaz. I got that one for you.
The Lows.
Yeah. Boy, are they good.
Yeah. Kevin Cash is a monster.
JJ, you said it best the other day. They're going to have a bunch of guys no one's ever heard of, okay, that you're not going to know why they're in the big leagues until the season's over, and they've hit 21 home runs, batted .284, right? And they're
probably going to make the wild card.
And they're going to be in the playoffs.
Like when they traded Randy Arozarena last year and everybody was up in arms, they got 2 or 3 minor leaguers from Seattle.
Right.
I don't even know who those guys are. But I'm willing to bet if they're not the ones contributing this year, they'll be the ones contributing next year. They trade off great players, get really good minor leaguers, develop them. It never ends with Tampa Bay.
They're up 4-0 on the Royals now.
We're going for the sweep, Frank.
In the bottom of 8.
Wow.
Okay. That if they win that's 5 out of 6 and 10 out of 13.
Yeah.
The guy pitching today is awesome.
With
Baz?
Yeah, right. With a bunch of guys nobody knows. Shane. Well, so Shane Baz. How did they get? I wonder how they got him. You any idea, JJ?
I can look it up.
Yeah, look out and see if there's any freaking chance that Chris Archer went to Pittsburgh for Aaron Meadows. Hang on, Austin Meadows, Tyler Glasnow, and Shane Baz.
Wow.
Okay?
Wow.
Let me say that again for those in the cheap seats. Austin Meadows, Tyler Glasnow, and Shane Baz to the Rays for Chris Archer,
who's not in the league,
who wasn't in the league the next year.
Y'all had an incredible minor league system.
How about that trade for you, huh? How am I doing? So
that just speaks to what Tampa does every single year.
Stirred me up by asking me about Shane Baz.
By the way, Caglianone's struggling. Have you seen that? He's batting like 180 right now.
But that's okay.
It's early.
He just got here. Too.
Yeah.
So, but we'll talk.
And they'll take a 220 average from him as long as he hits like 40 bombs every year.
That's right. That's the world we're in. All right, so we got a lot of things to talk about. We'll get to some of the basketball stuff in a bit. But I guess when we come back, my friend Lee Smith is going to join us. He's the executive director of the Players Championship, terrific golf analyst. We're going to talk obviously about the Tommy Fleetwood collapse, the Keegan Bradley finish, what happens with the Ryder Cup, but I also want to get into him about normal guy golf, the handicap system. I've been wanting to talk to Lee about this. We've had so much national golf to talk about and explain it a little bit. Joe and I talked about it at the handoff a bit as well. So we got a lot of things to get to today on the program. Glad you're with us, along with Hacker and JJ. I'm Frank Frangie. It's 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
A hot day, ice cold drinks, and smoking hot sports takes.
I like that, man. I like that.
1010XL, your summertime fun station.
Hi, folks. I'm Frank Frangie. If you have a sweet tooth like me, the sweetest desserts in town come from Spoonful Bakery. Spoonful is an online bakery. They deliver boxes of assorted desserts right to your home or office. They're so good, and they make for great gifts for friends or clients. And if you want custom orders, wedding cakes or birthday cakes, or catered desserts for an event, they are the best. Log on to spoonful-bakery.com or call them at 904-515-4984. That's Spoonful Bakery for the sweetest desserts in town.
This is Hayes Carlion for Harold and Harold. I was at lunch with my good friend Holt, and he was telling me that sometimes a lawyer can get more from a case than their own client. I was surprised to hear this, but Holt said that doesn't happen with Harrell and Harrell. They'll never take a fee that is greater than their own client. When they say they treat their clients as a person and not a file, they mean it. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you're ever injured, call Harrell and Harrell at 904-251-1111. That's 904-251-1111.
Where does Northeast Florida buy cars? Arlington Toyota. Why Arlington? Selection. Arlington has over 800 new and used vehicles all in one location with everyday low prices. Plus, right now you choose a pre-owned 2023 Camry, RAV4, Tacoma for $0 down and only $388 per month. Or how about no payments till January 2026? Shop in person on Atlantic Boulevard, just a quarter-mile east of 295, or online anytime at arlingtontoyota.com.
My son had a meniscus surgery a couple of years ago, went smooth as silk, was playing tennis in 2 weeks. This is Patrick Malarkey, and I highly recommend Southeast Orthopedic Specialist.
Our son Eric's a Division I collegiate baseball pitcher who is having shoulder pain. We took him to Southeast Orthopedic Specialist and are confident that he's now on the road to recovery. This is Beth Anderson, and we love the care Eric receives at Southeast Orthopedic Specialist.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialist.
I'm 1010XL's media mogul, Dan Hicken, and before the weekend hits, I break down what to watch and where to be. Catch Musings with the Media Mogul on YouTube and Facebook, provided by Tucker Equipment Rentals in Neptune Beach.
Jumbo Shrimp Baseball is home at newly renovated ViStar Ballpark this week and weekend. Join us tonight as military independents get free tickets courtesy of Ascension St. Vincent's, and it's Coors Light Thirsty Thursday. Fireworks tomorrow and Saturday night with a Wizard Cloak giveaway courtesy of Maxwell House. Meet Bluey on Baptist Health Sunday Family Fun Day. Baseball all weekend. JackShrimp.com for tickets.
We're certainly facing interesting economic times. For me, it's comforting to know my money's in good hands with ITP Partners. Jacksonville guys taking care of my Jacksonville money. Experience? Yeah, that's Chris Bryan, Jeff Hartman, Reagan Wright, Dan Abel, Scott Regner, Janice Cobb, and Reed Wingate. They have the expertise and knowledge to take care of your money. For more info, go to itppartners.com. ITP Partners, they're my financial partners for life.
Non-compensated client testimonial may not be representative of all client experiences. No guarantee of future performance or success. Right now, they're on their way to disrupt your life, make you uncomfortable, and rob you. Don't bother calling the police. They can't help. That's right. Summer heat and humidity are about to attack North Florida again. You know what to do. Call Mike Merritt. Mike Merritt's Heating and Air has a license to chill. When heat and humidity are attacking you, Mike Merritt provides a comfortable chill at a bargain price. Mike has been keeping North Florida comfortable for 30 years. Mike Merritt technicians are never paid commissions, meaning you'll never be pressured to buy something you don't need. And Mike Merritt knows cooling issues can arise anytime. They don't just happen during business hours. So Mike Merritt never charges overtime fees. When you need us, we're here for you. Remember, in the fight against heat and humidity, Mike Merritt has a license to chill. Visit merrittair.com. Florida license number CACO 50384.
Brendan here with Checkmate Coating. No massive overhead means top prices on top quality pool decks, driveways, garages, and patios too.
Checkmate Coatings. Your floor's missing piece.
Joe C. for Preferred Roofing, reminding you your roof is more than just felt and shingles. It's a system that not only keeps your home dry, but also impacts your heating and cooling bills. Preferred Roofing and Construction is a GAF Master Elite Roofing Contractor, lauded for having the ability to educate and inform homeowners on their options. Why GAF and Preferred Roofing? They're veteran-owned and operated with ties to Duval for decades. A family business ready to make sure your family has a good roof over its head. Log on, preferredroofingjacks.com.
Hey, I'm Tony from Tony D's Pizza. People ask me all day long, is it the water that makes the difference? Well, yes and no. Even water can't make a good pizza. It's the ingredients, too. The best tomatoes, the best flour, and the best cheese. Oh, and a lot of love. Tony D's New York Pizza, Bay Meadows and 295.
The housing market is as busy as ever on the First Coast, and if you've moved in or moved on, make sure you have a team of trained electricians ready to help. American Electrical can make sure you're up to date electrically and maximize your living experience. Smart home automation services, home theater systems, outdoor and dock lighting, and backup generators. American Electrical can do it all. A team you can trust with highly trained technicians ensuring you have the best living experience. American-Electrical.com, a leader on the First Coast and powered by professionalism.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Stanley Pools Thursday on The Frangie Show. Since 1988, the experts in pools, pavers, screen enclosures, it's Stanley Pools.
We thank our friends from Stanley Pools. Greg Stanley and his team do such a fantastic job. 1988, they've done my pool. They've redone it. They service it, and they'll do yours as well. Stanley Pools is the name to know in that industry. Frank Frangie with Hacker. JJ is with us. My friend Lee Smith is here as we talk golf. He's the executive director of the Players Championship and our golf analyst. How are you, buddy? Good to see you.
Doing well.
I said this earlier in the week. I'm glad for Keegan Bradley. I thought it was an amazing shot on 18, and you knew he was going to make the putt, and he was so excited, and he's from that area, and now he's got to decide whether or not to be a playing captain. We'll talk about that in a minute. Man, my heart broke for Tommy Fleetwood. I hated it. Golf, you said it best. Golf's hard, man. And I just, he's a better putter than that, Take us through what was going on in his mind, and what were you thinking when you were watching it?
Well, my watching of Fleetwood over the years, and even the commentators made mention of it, is that typically down the stretch, he gets conservative, leaves putts short. Even short ones are just getting over the edge. And it felt like you could see that even on 17. That maybe he drove that one 5 feet by.
Right.
He hit a heck of a bunker shot out of that fairway bunker to pin high up on the right level. A putt that, he might make 25% of the time, and he drives it 5 feet by. And so he was obviously wanting to get aggressive, wanted to run that one in. And then how shaky he was in the fairway on 18. I mean, again, the putt, you're going to 3-putt that every once in a while. And obviously how fast he moved, he just lost track of, as everybody the talks about, whether it's the NFL or whatever, the game was just moving too fast for him at that time. But he was, I think, 8 yards or so further away than Keegan, and he switched to a pitching wedge and only got it to the front edge. Keegan hits 9-iron from 8 yards closer.
Right.
Because 9-iron was the shot to get it close. Wedge was the shot to get it to the front. And I think ultimately that was the big mistake when you only have a one-shot lead and you want to get aggressive is, hit 9-iron to the middle of the green. And I just think the pace of the game was something that he lost track of.
Hacker, you made that point that he had 9-iron.
He had 9-iron in his hand, put it in the back in the bag, went pitching wedge. Obviously, ended up short of the green.
And for a player I think it's probably a lesson for everybody. Hitting a full shot is much more comfortable, especially for players of our caliber. Yeah. Like I'd rather hit a full one, especially when you. And you could see that maybe the pressure was I just don't want to hit a soft one. Yeah. I want to hit something hard.
I mean, Frank and I talked about this on Monday. He is considered to be the best player on tour that's never won. And I think golf fans knew that. Now the sports world knows that after the collapse, whatever you want to call it, last week. I mean, is it ever going to happen for Tommy Fleetwood? He's been there so many times, and for whatever reason, he just can't get over that hump.
Yeah, I got to believe it is and going to happen. He's won over in Europe. He beat Rory, coming down the stretch in a big time event. I can't remember which event that was, but, so he's won globally. I think it's just a matter of time. And to your point, he's not only the best player to not have won, but I think he's as good a guy as there is out there to not have won. And so I think there were so many people rooting for him.
Lee, I don't care if it's a $5 Nassau. If you're staring at that putt you got to make, or when that's the circumstance, do most people, it's a dumb question because there may not be a most, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Do most people get tight and leave it short? Do most people blow it by? I would think it's the former. What's your experience?
Yeah. I would think you get conservative. You know that the whole putts can go in
at 9 o'clock. They can go in at 3 o'clock just as easy as they can go in at 6 o'clock, on using a clock. And when the ball's traveling slowly, the hole's larger. Yeah. And so I think conservative play tells you that you leave it short. And remember, leaving it short is not always that the ball ends up short of the hole. When on a breaking putt like that, the ball can actually get to the hole, but if you would have hit it harder or firmer, it would have stayed straight, held the line, and even Tommy's putt that kind of looked like maybe it hit a ball mark and just kind of was probably going to miss to the right anyways, but a little bit firmer, and it may catches a piece of the hole. But it just looked like he got really conservative.
All right, let's move on to Keegan Bradley. First of all, great finish. What do you think about the Ryder Cup circumstance? What would your advice be to him? What do you think he's going to do?
One thing I always laugh about the Keegan, and he's from New England, and everybody says it's like his home tournament, and I know he claims it's his home tournament, but he's from there as close as we are from
to Atlanta.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
He's a couple hours away.
Right.
Look, I think if Keegan. And I think he's said this, which I would agree with. I would have no problem with him being a playing captain if he earned his way into that top 6 and was an automatic qualifier. I think he almost deserves it or owes it to himself, because my guess is at 10 years old, he didn't grow up dreaming to be the captain of the Ryder Cup. He grew up dreaming to play on the Ryder Cup,
right? And
he's still playing. And so if he earns the right, I would have zero problem with him playing and think he thinks he deserves it. And I think he's, you're capable of doing it. You can work, you can play one match in the morning and sit out the afternoon and still be a captain, all of those types of things. I think it would just be a tough look if he picked himself, even if it was, 7th, 8th, 9th, on the list after the top 6.
As far as the Ryder Cup decisions that are coming down, what are some of the tough decisions that are going to need to be made about the ultimate roster and how it shapes up?
Yeah, look, you get the top 6 are automatic qualifiers, and then you get to pick the next 6. I think it's always interesting, Hack, to balance a couple of things when you're the captain. Is are you balancing rookies against experience? Are you balancing current form versus maybe somebody that won in January or February that's still in that top 12? You got guys that, like, as an example, you got a guy like Ben Griffin who, I think nobody would argue over the last month or 6 weeks has earned his spot. But is he somebody that you would pick over, a veteran that's in that top 12 that has faced Ryder Cup pressure and is playing relatively well? If you were a captain, would you pick a Ben Griffin? I don't know the exact standings, but a Ben Griffin that's at 8th or 9th over a Keegan Bradley that might be at 7th or 8th, based on Ben Griffin's current form and those types. So I think it's always a balance of experience and current form, and then you always got to compare it to the golf course. Bethpage is a big ballpark and probably going to have high rough, and you're going to want in the alternate shot or foursomes format, you're going to want to pair a good iron player with somebody that can hit a fairway. Most notably.
And we'll have this conversation closer to September with you, but where does the Ryder, as a golf fan, where's the Ryder Cup for you? Is it like the majors? Is it sometimes more?
I think watching it on TV, it's probably second to none. The atmosphere being on site at a Ryder Cup is off the charts.
Is it? I've never been.
Off the charts.
Is it?
I had the pleasure of actually going to the Ryder Cup in Louisville at Valhalla with somebody from Wales.
Oh, wow.
So I was there, and we were, at each other's throats the whole time, listening to the American broadcast and the European broadcast and those types of things. But it is a hard viewing event because typically there's only 4 groups on the golf course, but there's the same amount of people that you would normally have when there's 144 players on the course. And it's a lot different when 40, 50, 60,000 people are following 4 groups versus 35 groups.
That's a great point.
It's tough. If you're there, in order to get a good, you're going ahead to the 6th hole, watching 4 groups come through. Then you're going ahead to the 13th hole and sitting there for 2 hours, or watching it on TV and waiting for another 4 groups to get through. It's a tough event, but the atmosphere is second to none.
It's terrific theater. Absolutely terrific theater. I remember the major comeback from 25, 26 years ago. I remember being in the stadium, and that was just when you had electronic devices where you could get other broadcasts. A lot of people were watching the Ryder Cup at a Jaguar game in the early 2000s during that comeback. So it's terrific theater. And the Europeans, the Americans, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Well, the Rocket Classic, tell me about that. In Detroit, not a signature event.
Nope.
Is it important?
Yeah, it's a, you've got a couple in a row here that allow top finishers to qualify for the Open Championship. So it is one where, maybe not a ton of the superstars will play just as they're preparing, coming off signature events and major championships and preparing for, July and then obviously the playoffs. But a great golf course, obviously a great golfing city in Detroit Golf Club, Rocket Mortgage, now they're just the Rocket Classic, a great sponsor that does a lot for the city of Detroit. They do an event the weekend before called the John Shippen Classic that is really all the best black professional and amateur golfers from across the country that play. And the winner gets an exemption into the Classic. So a really, names like Wyatt Worthington and Willie Mack and Tim O'Neill was actually a player, went to Jackson State. I played against Tim O'Neill in college. Cool. have won that event and, gotten an exemption that, that can change their life if they make a cut and those types of things.
Yeah, what's interesting stuff. All right, before we go, I got to ask you about this. I pulled up my GIN, okay? Because I got to ask you about this. A lot of folks listen to us.
Let me start by saying gin.
Is it just not gin?
Go with gin.
Did I get it wrong?
Yeah, go with gin. Let's start.
Is that
it's
true?
Kind of like the
Is
drink.
It really gin?
Yeah, it's kind of like the
I
drink.
didn't know that. I've only called it gin for about 30 years, so I just good to know, or however long they've had this. So I pulled it up. I'm an 11.5. Okay, I'm a 9.9 index. I'm an 11.5. Okay, which would indicate, and heck, I'm playing like crap. Okay, I was a freaking 9 6 months ago, but that's another story.
I like how he's complaining that he's only a 9 or 10,
which is a really good play, right?
So, but 11.5 would indicate you're shooting a lot of 83s. If you didn't know the system, I'm not. I'm 86, 87 every goddamn time out now. That's another conversation. But the handicap system is not your average. It's as good as you can. It's you at your best. Explain why it's that way, and are we getting it right? My buddy Bubba Dickerson thinks it's all wrong, and he's a very good former tour player. What do you think?
Yeah, look, I don't think it's a perfect system by any stretch. I would start at the beginning as to what the objective is of the handicap system. And I think the objective should be celebrated in our sport of golf that really not many other sports can do, which is try to create an equal playing field with you playing against your friend Bubba, that between your handicaps there may be 15 shots, right? He's +4 and you at an 11. That's the great thing about golf and the handicap system is it attempts to create equity amongst those of different levels, different genders, different tee placements, lengths of the golf course. But you're right in that the handicap calculation or the formula is you plugging in 20 scores, and when you plug in those scores, the handicap system creates a differential. And the differential is basically saying that every 80 that is shot is not equal. If you shoot 80 on the stadium course from the back tees at 7,400 yards, or an 80 at another golf course from the up tees at 6,500 yards, those are not equal 80s. So it weights those 80s in a different way, and so it creates differentials. But to your point of the potential, you plug in 20 scores, and it counts your 8 best. So your 8 best, basically your handicap is your potential. Is your potential.
Okay.
It's your skill, it's your ability. And so when you see your handicap fluctuate,
Right.
especially those that like to see it go up so they can compete with their fellow partners, typically you'll post a score of an 86 and maybe one of yours, in your circumstance, one of your 80s will drop off.
Right.
Because then you have a higher score on and a lower score that drops off, so then your handicap can go up. So it's a formula that is more your potential than it is your average.
Yeah, I just think, and again, you know way more than I do, but I just think, in this, you described the system perfectly, but I just think it should be your average. Now you explain why it can't be, because every 80 is not the same. I get that. You know, if you're playing Jack's Beat from 5,800 yards, you're going to shoot a lot of 77s, and if you're playing the stadium from 74, you might not break 100. So I get that. But I just, it's weird. And I said, I'm going to have Lee come in here and explain why it's the way it is.
Yeah, that's so when you travel, that the nice thing is that you have a home handicap, which typically, is not going to have a decimal point. Your index is your traveling handicap that allows you to apply that index to where you're going to play.
Right.
So you may go to one golf course and apply your 11.5, and you may get 12 shots on that golf course. But then you may go to another golf course that's much, much harder, and your 11.5 might translate to a 14 on that particular golf course just based on difficulty. So I think there's a lot. I think it was only 5 years ago or so that there are actually now abnormal conditions that even AI is part of the handicap system, that if you go out and play out of season when the golf course might not be in its best shape, or in high winds based on what the weather forecast that they'll actually give you a higher differential, because again, even an 80 on the same golf course from the same tees under different conditions, faster greens, high winds, longer rough at the same golf courses aren't equal.
Well, to that end, and we'll wrap with this, and Hacker, you've probably played in the media event out there. To that end, if you play the stadium in July, the greens aren't super fast. The rough is what it is. I mean, it's always a wonderful golf course. I've shot 81 from the white tees. Whew. I've also played that Benefactor day after when it's tour greens and tour rough, and shot like 98.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Same guy.
And felt you played similar.
Yeah, I had the same clubs.
Yeah.
I mean, that's true. I mean, that's 16, 18 shots different.
Yeah,
it was pretty amazing, isn't it? And that's your point.
Yeah, and that's what's, I think, difficult, is there's so many criteria and different parts of the same score that can make them completely unequal.
Yeah.
And so again, you throw all of this into the system to try to create equity so that everybody can play on an equal playing form, and I can give you a shot, and maybe next Tuesday I'll give you two aside, maybe.
Yeah, that'd be
I'll give you two aside,
give me two aside. Yeah. I need a calculator hack to figure out how many Lee's going to have to give me if we are playing next week. Lee Smith, the executive director of the Players Championship. Great work. Thank you. Appreciate it. Back in a moment. 1010 XL 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Frank Frangie here. These days, it's hard to know which companies to trust. But when it comes to banking, I trust South State Bank. South State truly values its customers, and they work hard to create meaningful, lasting relationships. I love going into my local branch. I see the same smiling faces I've seen for years. South State is the largest bank headquartered in Florida, so they're able to offer all the banking services you need. You can trust South State Bank. Banking forward. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
1010XL takes you inside the program director's office with Dan and Jeff.
Your show is capable of so much more.
The Drill.
We'll try harder, okay?
Mornings.
Just give us a second chance.
On 1010XL.
Growing up in Jacksonville, I always associated Beards with an elevated experience, something that isn't your big box store.
Dr. Aryan Afshari talking about his experience at Beards Diamonds.
Every single time I've walked into Beards, I have felt confident. I have felt like I've been guided down the right path. I feel like no one is there to take my money and that they all have my best interest in mind.
When Dr. Afshari went into Beards Diamonds for his engagement ring, he was blown away by the selection.
We walked into Beards, they showed us a massive array of diamonds, of bands,
settings, but they helped him narrow it down and even offered to customize a designer setting for a one-of-a-kind ring.
I showed them some inspirations, and they really kind of knocked it out of the park. I think Megan still has the best ring out of all her friends.
Beard's Diamonds. Unbeatable selection, direct importer prices, designer rings, no commission salespeople, and local owners.
I wanted something meaningful, and that's what I found at Beard's.
Get the value and luxury experience you deserve. Beard's Diamonds at the St. John's Town Center.
You've probably heard the saying, it's not how hard you get hit, it's whether or not you get back up. Well, I'm attorney Brett Hastings, and I have a saying of my own. If you get hit with a personal injury or wrongful death, hit back and fight to make them pay. At Hastings Injury Law, we have the experience you want if you or a loved one suffer a car or trucking accident or wrongful death. Just call 904-HIT-BACK and we'll help you get up and hit back. Office is Jacksonville.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
With the first pick in the 2025 draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Duck Duck Rooter, the #1 plumbing, septic, and air conditioning contractor in Florida.
Congratulations, Duck Duck Rooter. So tell us, how does it feel to be picked #1?
Duck Duck Rooter is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When you need help with any plumbing, septic, or AC issue, just give us a call and relax. We'll send one of our first-round draft picks to tackle your problems today. DuckDuckRooter.com. That's DuckDuckRooter.com.
I insist on complete honesty.
You can chime in anytime on the 1010XL text line.
Installed by Lifetime Flooring.
If you have something to say to me, I wish you would just say it.
Share your opinion.
Are you nuts?
What?
641-1010.
That's crazy.
I9 Sports is geared up for fun for kids all over the First Coast with summer and fall registration now open. Kids ages 3 to 17 can get in the gym or on the field with I9 Sports, covering Clay, Duval, St. John's, and I9 has all-girls flag football at Oakleaf, UNF, Fletcher, and Creekside. Plenty of other spots and sports on the First Coast to take advantage of. Don't miss out. Registration now open for summer and fall at I9 Sports. Enter 1010 in the promo code for a discount.
The SEC and the ACC will face off in Jacksonville at the 81st TaxSlayer Gator Bowl game December 27th at 7:30 p.m. Join us for Saturday night football in prime time at the bank. Preferred locations and pricing available now at TaxSlayerGatorBowl.com.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Instant Keys saves the day if you have lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call 722-1111.
Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Are you ready to play this summer? At the First Coast YMCA, we're committed to being your home for health and wellness and a place for friendly competition with team sports for adults and for kids. Basketball, volleyball, pickleball, flag football, soccer. The Y has something for everyone at any age. Discover all the benefits of YMCA membership and find your fun this summer at the Y. Registration for team sports and summer camps is open now. Visit fcymca.org.
Cannonball!
Honey, someone's in our pool.
Oh, refreshing.
John, what are you doing?
Oh, hey, Dave. Seeing as how me and the guys at Clearwater Irrigation reinstalled your sprinklers after the pool contractor ripped it out, I thought you wouldn't mind if I took a quick dip.
But in a Jaguar print Speedo?
Yeah, Dave. My bad.
Clearwater Irrigation. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at sprinklers.
And drainage, too.
David here with Royal Pest Services. It's back. Our summer Centricon Termite Special. New installs begin as low as $249. And if you have existing Centricon, but your renewal is through the roof, we can transfer you to Royal at no cost. Visit RoyalPestServices.com to schedule a free estimate.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Stanley Pools Thursday on The Frangie Show. Since 1988, the experts in pools, pavers, screen enclosures, it's Stanley Pools.
We thank our friends from Stanley Pools, a Thursday sponsor around here for a long, long time. We sure do appreciate them. Thanks to my buddy Lee Smith for stopping by. What, does anybody know golf better than that guy?
I could listen to him for a long time, man. He's good.
Lee obviously knows golf, but he probably is as good at explaining it to those of us that don't know it like he does.
Mm-hmm.
Is anybody I've worked with in my 37 years of doing this? I think he has a better feel for whether it's the handicap system or why Tommy Fleetwood might have left his putt short. Honest to God, is good at explaining that as anybody I've ever worked with.
Yeah, I mean, you could teach a college course on the whole handicap thing. I had no idea there were formulas and decimal points and algorithms and this, that, and the other. That was crazy to listen to.
Yeah, and it got and we normal hacks. It bugs just sometimes because I think, okay, my number isn't what I've been shooting. You know, now it's funny. When I was playing about last 2 summers ago, but a little bit last summer, when I was playing well,
mm-hmm.
I had it down. My index about 8.3 and the handicap was about 9. Well, I was shooting 81, 82 most of the time.
Well, keep in mind, it's relative, because when you say you're shooting 86 now, in my book, that's playing pretty well.
No, I know what you mean. It is all relative, but you're right about that. But now that I'm shooting, I'm shooting 86, 87, my number should say 14 or 15. I'm glad it doesn't.
Right. Yeah.
But you know, so that's what I'm trying to get with the conversation we're trying to have. I'll bet the last 3 or 4 times I've gone out, I've shot between 84 and 88 every time. That doesn't sound like a guy who's a 10 or 11. But Lee explained why it's like that. 10 or 11 isn't your average score. It's you on your best day.
Is 9 the best you've ever been?
Yes, the best I've ever. Yeah, it is. I'm not a good player. I break 80 once a summer. Now, two years ago, I broke it 5 times because I was playing really well. But I'm not the good players. They're the ones who really grind on their handicaps. You know, like the guys that are legitimately good players. They got the low handicap. Prosser's a really good player.
Oh, there's a lot of people at the station that are pretty good. Yeah.
Jeff's probably a 5 or 6, but he's a good 5. You know, you could be. Now look, I'm an 11.5. I'm a pretty good 11.5. You know, index, which means I'm a 12 handicap. But I was not a very good 8. You know what I mean? So it depends. But anyway, we appreciate having Lee in there. Let's talk a little bit about my favorite. You want to hear about my favorite NBA team?
I know you're a Utah Jazz fan through and through.
Go way back with the Jazz. The mailman Stockton remember Stockton in the short shorts, JJ? I mean,
absolutely.
Way back in the day.
Jeff Hornacek on the guard line with Howard Isley as well, coming off the bench.
Mark Eaton
getting
the rebound and kicking it out.
Who was the big dog? Antoine Carr back in the day.
I don't remember.
He was Greg Ostertag's backup.
Okay, look at you. Look at you.
Well, that's because they lost to Jordan 2 years in a row.
So Markkanen led him in scoring last year. Lauri Markkanen with 19 points a game. John Collins also averaged 19 points a game. Let me go and tell America, I have no idea who John Collins is.
He's like a rim running forward.
He was a former Hawk. He played in Atlanta and was traded out there.
Plays above the rim. He's basically a lob guy.
Okay, and I appreciate that. I still had no idea who he was.
He went to college around somewhere
Wake Forest.
Wake Forest,
okay, so I had no idea. Colin Sexton, we all remember from Alabama. So Colin Sexton, I didn't know.
Shoots way too much.
Yeah. Keontae George, Jordan Clarkson.
Wow.
No idea who they were.
Jordan Clarkson's been in the league for a long time.
Jordan Clarkson was on the Cavs for a while.
Yeah, he'll come off the bench and just jack up a bunch of threes.
Okay, Walker Kessler, I know because he played at Auburn. Okay.
Yep. There you go.
White guy, right?
But yeah, what I'm having to do is, this is now my favorite team.
I know
when
it is.
When you have a favorite, you got to lean into your favorite teams.
I don't know what you're going to do if they draft Elijah Martin tonight.
Oh, you kidding me? I will move. That's what I'm going to do.
The new voice of the Utah Jazz.
Yeah. But you like the Walt Lake City thing, right?
I did like that.
Yeah.
Well, again, it's funny. During the break, I went ahead and ordered the T-shirt.
I'm sure you did.
So I did that. So.
You did say you had an important phone call. I knew that was probably that.
That's exactly
the ticket office.
That's exactly what it was.
But, I mean, for Walter Clayton, look, the Utah Jazz are not a good basketball team, so he's going to get a fresh start out there. It's a young team. I like the fit. I also like it being an Orlando Magic fan. I did not want to have to passionately root against him as a Miami Heat or an Atlanta Hawk or a Washington Wizard.
Yeah.
So the fact that he goes out west is cool. The only thing that stinks about that for us is now, I mean, I get the league pass, but you're going to have to get it to watch
They're
any
never
Walter.
on
They're never on TV.
Well, now that as of today, and now that you and I both have the league pass,
Now that he has your password.
right. But so that's my favorite team. So let me ask you this: let me be serious just for a moment, because you guys both do follow it. Now knowing where he landed, where he was picked, Hacker, you go first. Serious question: how good of a pro will he be?
Oh, I think he has the potential to be a very good offensive pro.
Yeah,
The question about him is always defense. And look, I mean, Walter Clayton Jr., the ironic thing about the defensive thing is they won the national championship because he made a great defensive play in that game against Houston and that closeout. But he is not known for defense. That was the knack on him. That's why he went 18th as opposed to maybe in the lottery. The guy can shoot the lights out of the gym, obviously. When you get Steph Curry comparisons, right, which I thought were a little, rich, but I got it. I mean, the guy was doing Steph Curry-esque things in the tournament. Shooting's not an issue. He's great from the free throw line. He's a team leader. Can he play defense, and is he motivated enough to play defense? Because the MO on him, but some NBA scouts that I talked to, not only was he not a good defender, but there were some instances where he didn't look very interested in playing defense.
Well, that's the other part of it is if he's lazy on defense, that's different than bad on defense, even though it certainly contributes greatly to bad. So, but
half of defense is effort.
Yeah, and I would think that JJ, same question I asked Hacker. How good a player do you think he'll be?
I think what everyone says about him is that he makes tough shots with guys in his face. Like, he is amazing at a difficult shot. Well, guess what? In the NBA, there's so much more of that than in college. Like, there's going to be a guy with his hand in your face almost all the time in the NBA. So if he can fill it up like everyone says he can, he's definitely going to be not a star, but I mean, his floor is a sixth man off the bench who comes in and scores a lot. That's a great player. That's a guy who's going to make tons of money and impact playoff teams.
And tons of money for life. See, and again, I'm so biased because he's become one of my favorite players just because of the team and how likable the team was. I think he's going to be a really good player. I agree with you on the defense. Not only is he not a skilled defensive player, he's also not very big.
Mm-hmm.
He's listed at 6'2". He's not a big 6'2". If that makes, he's physical. I mean, he's strong, but he's not.
That's why he didn't go in the lottery.
Right. He's not long. He doesn't have a quick first step necessarily. And those are the things that work against him. So, but I will tell you, and listen, I watched Anderson Hunt from Vegas in 1990. Was unstoppable at the college. I don't know if you remember him or not when they won the title.
Was that the Larry Johnson, Greg Anthony, Stacey Augmon team?
Anthony was the point guard. Anderson Hunt was the two.
Yeah, right.
He was the MVP.
Yep.
Augmon and Johnson were on that team. Benoit was on that team. It was one of the best teams of all time in college. Anderson Hunt was unstoppable. You couldn't. He was the MVP going away of that thing. Never got a cup of coffee in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Greg Anthony, who wasn't nearly as important as Anderson Hunt in winning the championship, became a decent NBA player. And so, and his son continues to. So I know there's a chance that this college stuff doesn't matter, but what he did as a college player, I'll say it again, they were 36-4. That was not a 36-4 roster.
Right.
That was not a national championship roster. It was good players. But they were 36-4 playing in the best league in America. They won the NCC tournament. They won the NCAA tournament because he was that great. And that really is why they won all that, is because he was that great. And that's in some ways, translate to the next level. In some way it has to.
I agree. You would like to hope that. And look, he's a better player than these guys, but think about the other great Gator point guards of the last 2 decades. Torian Green, Scotty Wilbekin, Chris Chiozza. Okay. None of those. I mean, Green got a cup of coffee in the league. Chiozza did too. I don't think Wilbekin ever made it in the league.
But let me tell you, the guys all three you guys you mentioned, Wilbekin, Chiozza, who else you mentioned?
And Torian Green.
You could have mentioned Irving Walker. You could have mentioned Zion Pullen, who was just there. There've been a lot of good ones. But none of them had one thing they did great. He can really shoot it.
Mm-hmm.
He can. And I'll say this too. The level of NBA guy that comes around there, Andrew Nebhard, Trey Mann, there's more NBA-ish guys that have come through there than back in the day. But he's got one thing. None of those guys were all damn good, complete college players. But they didn't have one thing they did superbly. He can shoot it. like nobody's ever played there.
I remember in the combine, he went like 21 of 25 for his 3-point range.
And again, to JJ, to your point about tough shots, he did it over and over and over and over again in the toughest of moments.
Most stressful situation you can imagine as a basketball player. Your team's down in the second half of win do or die games.
It's like we were talking with Lee Smith a moment ago. It's one thing to drain the 18-foot downhill bending putt. It's another thing to do it at about 6:15 in Augusta, Georgia on a Sunday afternoon.
Right.
That's a whole different putt. It's I mean, to be able to make a 12-foot putt is one thing. To be able to make a 12-foot putt to win the Masters with the whole golf world watching you is different. And that's what Walter Clayton Jr. did as a basketball player. He made the 12-foot putt at the Masters, not just in practice or not just at the Rocket Mortgage Open. He made the 12-foot putt at the Masters. That's over and over and over. He made it again at the U.S. Open. He made it again at the PGA. That's what Walter Clayton did. And I just think that somehow that has to translate.
Well, the cool thing is we're not going to have to wait till October because you're going to get Summer League basketball next month. And he'll be on the Utah Jazz Summer League team out in Vegas. You'll get a little bit of an inkling there when he's going up against the other rookies and whatnot. And I think it's clear. Now, Orlando was never going to have Walter Clayton fall to 25, but they would have surely taken him because they took Jason Richardson's son, who's also an undersized guard that shoots the lights out of the ball. They took him at 25, so it was kind of bittersweet for me knowing Clayton went 7 spots before Orlando picked. Orlando would have definitely taken him had he been there.
Yeah, and had they not made the deal
with Desmond Bain,
which they would have still had 16.
He would have been there.
Were they taking him?
I
guess
think
you don't know because now they would have needed a shooter because then they wouldn't have had Bain.
I really like the Desmond Bain trade
because he can really shoot.
He can really shoot it.
But but if they hadn't made the deal, they'd have still had the 16th pick. And they wouldn't have Bain.
Right.
So then they really would have needed a shooter.
More than likely, yes.
Yeah, interesting stuff. So, all right, very good. Let's take a break. When we come back, I want to talk a little Jaguar football. There's an interesting story on ESPN.com that addresses what each team should do if they had to make one more move. We'll talk about it after this.
It's the ride home with The Frangie Show. From the Harrell and Harrell studio, don't settle for less than you deserve.
Experience professional grade at Nimnick Buick GMC, home of the largest inventory of GMC Sierras in Northeast Florida and Southeast Georgia. This month, save up to $10,000 off select new GMC Sierra 1500s or enjoy rates as low as 0% APR financing. That's right, 0%. You can't find deals like this anywhere else in Jacksonville. Nimnick also has the largest selection of GMC's impressive SUV lineup, like the all-new redesigned GMC Acadia and the highly sought-after Yukon and Yukon XL. Curious about an EV? Well, you can save big with the all-new GMC Hummer EV, SUV, and truck, plus the all-new GMC Sierra EV. Now with cash incentives, now is the time to take an EV test drive. So shop at Nimnick today. That's Nimnick Buick GMC. Who's got the best prices, the best products? Nobody but Nimnick. We are professional grade GMC.
Seminole and proud of it.
Let's give him the chop.
Rick Ballou takes you into the night. Every weeknight on 1010XL.
Frangie here for my friend and insurance agent, Craig Dewhurst. Craig has been helping families on the First Coast with their insurance needs for 25 years as your good neighbor and local State Farm agent. Now's a great time to review your insurance policies, whether you need auto, homeowners, or renter's insurance, or insurance for your golf cart, boat, or jet skis. Craig handles all of my family's insurance needs, and even better, he gives back to the community. Call Craig today at 904-940-9740. That's 904-940-9740.
Hello, I'm Joe Cordell, founder of Cordell & Cordell. Divorce is complicated, especially when your small business or professional practice is involved. At Cordell & Cordell, we understand that these assets raise unique valuation and allocation issues. For 35 years, we've helped doctors, lawyers, and small business owners navigate divorce with confidence. Call us at Cordell & Cordell. Let me tell you, I understand on a personal level, your business is much more than a job. It's your legacy.
Jacksonville, Florida. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois. CordellCordell.com.
Summer means fun in all forms. Longer days and more chances to soak up the sun and the fun. Budweiser and Bud Light reminding you to drink wiser. Hydrate between beers and don't sweat it. It's the best way to get home safely.
For a lot of us, saving up a down payment can be the biggest barrier to buying a home. So Rocket Mortgage is lowering down payments to 1% for eligible home buyers with One Plus. Because everyone deserves their shot at the American dream. Call 800-4ROCKET or visit rocket.com to get a head start on your starter home.
Rocket Mortgage, LLC. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 3030.
Get the real story from people who know the beautiful game best. The Coaches Show, presented by Sporting Jacks with Cole Pepper, Sporting Jacks head of soccer Mark Warburton, and Sporting Jacks women's coach Stacy Ballum. Tuesday nights at 6
on 1010 a.m.
Brian and Angela Wall here with Window World. By now, everyone has heard about saving money on their energy bills. There are all sorts of things you can do to cut energy costs, but most people don't think about their windows.
But Window World knows that the biggest energy loss in almost every home is the windows. There is more energy loss from old builder-grade windows than just about anything else in your home.
You can upgrade your heating and air, your appliances. That's good too. But before you do all that, upgrade your windows to Window World's energy-efficient windows.
Window World's windows are easy to clean, energy-efficient, and have the best guarantee in the business.
Window World's slogan is simply the best for less, and we mean it. You get great American-made windows, and you get to keep more of your money when you buy from Window World. Need any more reasons to buy your windows from Window World? Call them today and set up your free in-home estimate, or go online to windowworldneflorida.com.
Window World, simply the best for less.
Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors.
WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Man, I can't wait for Saturday. I'm going to the Jacksonville Axemen Rugby League game. They're playing the Southwest Florida Copperheads, and it's going to be good.
Rugby league is crazy. No pads or helmets. No, that's a real contact sport. Count me in.
Join the ratified credit union Jacksonville Axemen as they take on the Copperheads at the UNF Turf Field this Saturday at 7. Tickets start at $10 and kids under 12 are free at jacksax.com.
Registration is now open for the Circle K Greater Jacksonville Kingfish Tournament with over $450,000 in cash and prizes. Fun starts on July 13th with the inaugural Kickoff Beach Tournament that has a $50,000 cash first place prize. There's also a junior offshore tournament and one for the lady anglers. Best of all, the winner of the general offshore tournament takes home a Contender 28T with twin Yamaha 200s. Register today at kingfishtournament.com.
Born in Jacksonville, raised on Southern Rock, and coming home to the Florida Theater, it's Molly Hatchet. Saturday, June 28th. Get your fill of Southern Rock fury. Grab your seat at floridatheater.com. It's a hometown homecoming with Molly Hatchet.
If your ride is making strange noises, don't wait and make it work. Come to Action Transmission on Merrill Road. My expert technicians can diagnose the problem and likely fix it fast. Experience the difference at Action Transmission on Merrill Road.
I'm Max Fink with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update, brought to you by the Greater Jacksonville Kingfish Tournament. In the first round of last night's NBA draft, Gators point guard Walter Clayton Jr. was selected 18th overall by the Utah Jazz, who traded up to do so as Clayton teams up with the Jazz's 5th overall pick in Ace Bailey out of Rutgers. That leaves two Gators who are ranked in the top 60 NBA prospects, Elijah Martin and Will Richard, with a chance to be selected in the second round of the draft tonight. The Orlando Magic selected 6'1" guard Chase Richardson out of Michigan State last night with their 25th overall pick. Magic president Jeff Waltman describes Richardson as an excellent shooter and a player who makes minimal mistakes with an impressive 6'6" wingspan. Last year at Michigan State, Richardson averaged 12.1 points per game and shot 41% from three. It's 87 degrees at 5:03. Time and Temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Stanley Pools Thursday on The Frangie Show. Since 1988, the experts in pools, pavers, screen enclosures, it's Stanley Pools.
Man, we appreciate our friends from Stanley Pools. Greg Stanley and Kim and Liz, the whole team over there. They're so good. They'll design it for you. They'll walk you through it. You'll never work with nicer people. They've done ours. They've renovated ours. They still treat our pool. They're the pool people, the pool cleaners and pool service people there are outstanding, courteous, and man, they do a good job. Stanley Pools, that's the name to know if you need a pool in this market. Frank Frangie with Hacker and JJ here as we embark on hour number 2. Let's get to some Jaguar talk. Aaron Schatz, thank you, JJ, for pronouncing his name. I wasn't sure how. I didn't know much about him. We wrote an interesting column. If all 32 teams, or he took all 32 teams, I should say, and said, here's one more move they should make. Some is extending guys. The Steelers should extend TJ Watt. Other teams should extend this guy or that guy. With the Jaguars, he said, sign Jadeveon Clowney, the pass rusher. Now, some of these pass rushers tend to get signed late. Remember Leonard Floyd got signed like right like the first day of camp a couple years ago? That tends to happen.
Yeah.
He said he picks Clowney over Matthew Judon, Preston Smith, Zadarius Smith because he's more physical. He's more likely to set the edge. Yet he's older. Jadeveon, and it's Jadeveon, by the way, not Jadeveon Clowney to the Jags is what Aaron Schatz would like to see. Agree or disagree?
I would love to see it, but I guess the question there lies, all right, Hines Allen, Walker, you brought in Emmanuel Ogbah, so they finally have a third pass rusher. They had been lacking that for the last 2 years. For whatever reason, they just didn't bring anybody in behind Hines Allen and Walker. You now have that with Ogbah. And I guess it really comes down, Frank, to how do you feel about Miles Cole and the rookie Jalen McLeod? Because Miles Cole has potential. Jalen McLeod, a 6th-round rookie, but he did have 13.5 sacks his last 2 years in the SEC at Auburn. If you don't feel confident with either Cole or McLeod, I like the idea of Clowney. The problem, though, would be, all right, if Clowney's going to go somewhere, he's going to want to play. How much is your fourth edge rusher going to play?
Yeah, and a few thoughts. My friend Pete Prisco always says, be careful of name over game. There's a lot of guys that you know their name because you know how good they've been over the years, but might not have it anymore. You just recognize their name. And I get that. There's something to that. The reason I chose to talk about this on the program today is I would like to see them do something like that. And to your point about playing a lot, I think any of these guys now that we're almost in July and they don't have a team and they've been in the league a long time, they know their playing time isn't going to be significant. I think right now it's more about who gets the best financial deal.
Yeah.
I think Jadeveon Clowney, if he's going to play and if there's teams that are interested, and I have no idea if the Jacksonville Jaguars are one of those teams, but in fact, as aggressive and bold as they've been, my guess would be if they don't have him now, they probably aren't interested because they have not been afraid, which I love. So, but for the sake of a radio show, we're talking about a guy that's out there.
They did bring in the guy from Arizona, too.
Yeah.
His name escapes me right now. He had like 5 or 6 sacks with Arizona.
Yeah, he might be more he may be more linebacker than edge, but you're right. They're not afraid to continue bringing guys. And the fact that between Ogbah, DeJuan Smoot, guys they've brought in, they're certainly searching a little bit.
Dennis Gardeck.
Yeah, right. Yes.
Between Gardeck, between Smoot, between Ogbah, 3 of the guys they've brought in after the more typical player procurement period are edges, which tells you they're concerned. I didn't tell you they're concerned, but maybe they're not quite where they want to be at the edge going into camp, right? If 3 of those guys are at the same spot. So that would lead you to believe that. JJ's heard me tell this story before. You probably have too. In my 7 years of doing national college football games, Gino Toretta and I did a national game every week. It would be an SEC game one week, a Big Ten the next week, a Big 12. You know the drill. Jadeveon Clowney had the most dominant football game I ever saw a player have at any position, more than any quarterback, running back. I mean, I say that. I saw Johnny Manziel throw for 500 yards against Arkansas when Arkansas was 1-11. But you know my point.
Yeah.
Jadeveon Clowney, heck, I saw him against Clemson. I had the game. I had against Clemson, okay? Not against Wofford. We wouldn't have done that game. 4.5 sacks. 4.5 sacks in the game, Hack. And a bunch of deflections and pressures. I think he picked up a fumble. So clearly, once upon a time, he was about as good as it got. So I don't know. Of all the guys, you hear fans talk about this name and that name. Most of them, I kind of agree with Pete. It's more name over game. maybe because of that game I called that he was so dominant, that in the 2012 season, by the way, that it was just that I can't get it out of me. You ever have something like that?
No, I
It
understand.
just stays in there. You can't get it out. So it wouldn't break my heart if he wound up here.
Well, look, I mean, I'm not to put you on the spot here. I'm just curious because I would have gotten this very wrong. Clowney, 2023 in Baltimore and last year in Carolina. Take the two last regular seasons. You know how many sacks he combined for the last 2 years?
Oh, no.
15.
Okay.
He had 15 sacks. He had 9.5 in 23.
Yeah.
He had 5.5 last year.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
So there's certainly, within 2 years ago, there was certainly something.
Yeah.
He almost had double-digit sacks. So again, these pass rushers stay out there for a while. And again, to the Jaguars' credit, when they want to do something, they have, particularly this regime, James Gladstone, Liam Cohen, Tony Baselli, this triumvirate, if you would, when they want to do something, they do it. And they've been very aggressive doing it. It's just so, and normally I'll stand down, but he's the one guy I just feel like I get this, was he 31 probably?
He's drafted in 14.
Yeah. So somewhere in there. So I get the sense that there's maybe one more run left in him. And if there is, I wouldn't mind seeing it here.
Interesting aside, I do a number of the week on the 1010XL social media channels. Do you realize coming into the year, we're talking about Joshua Hines-Allen because he's going to break Tony Bracken's record for sacks in a Jaguar uniform. Hines-Allen comes in with 53. The record is Bracken's with 55. So if Hines-Allen doesn't break that, something went terribly wrong in 2025. And this, again, is just sacks in a Jaguar uniform. That's all it takes into account. Do you realize currently on the roster right now, there are 3 of the top 10 Jaguar sack leaders of all time in franchise history?
Yeah, I did know that.
Isn't that odd and wild?
Yeah, and which you can have when you have a young franchise.
Yeah.
We can have,
you got Hines-Allen, you got Walker, and you got DeJuan Smoot that are all in the top 10.
And Smoot's the one you wouldn't have got.
Right.
The other 2 you would have known. Yeah. But look, there's not a lot of teams that wouldn't love to have Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker because Trayvon Walker's still ascending. Josh Hines-Allen he's 2 years removed from a 17.5 sack season. So I love where they are. That's a position you have to have some depth and you have to have some volume. You just have to. You guys can't play every down.
Now, again, training camp is 3 weeks away, so it may happen. But last year, we obviously saw the extension for Trevor. You saw the extension for Tyson Campbell. Are you surprised that we're almost to the first part of July? We haven't seen an extension yet for Trayvon Walker?
No, that never really surprises me. I think it'll get done. My guess is they want to do it. I never get real caught up in the why hasn't this happened. Remember, Josh Hines-Allen took a while, and then they got a really good extension done. I never get real, and I remember that all the talk in the media and all the narrative was, well, they could have signed Ridley if they'd have gotten the Josh Hines-Allen thing done sooner. It doesn't work like that.
It's a great thing they didn't do that because they wouldn't have drafted BTJ.
Correct.
Yeah.
So it does. Well, that's right. So the narrative isn't always correct. No, I'm not. There's no doubt in my mind that Trayvon Walker is going to be on this team for a long time. I'd be shocked if he's not. I think you probably agree with that. So I don't get real caught. People were asking me if I was concerned Hunter didn't sign his rookie deal. I don't get real. My belief on stuff like there can be exceptions, but my belief on stuff like that is guys who are ultimately going to sign are ultimately going to sign.
Yeah. I don't get the national disdain for Trayvon Walker. I get asked about him a bunch on different podcasts. I get that he hasn't had the career to this point that Aiden Hutchinson's had.
And that's the disdain.
That is, but he's a good player.
Yeah, but I first of all, I agree with you. He's a very good player, and he's going to be a terrific player. But I get it. He was taken ahead of a guy who looks like he's going to be one of the most elite pass rushers in the league. I get it. And not only that, but he was taken ahead of a guy who right now is ahead of him as a pass rusher. And there was a lot of criticism even at the time for the team taking him ahead of the guy that became an elite pass rusher. So I understand it. I'm with you. I'm with kind of where you are on this. That criticism is going to go away the more he continues to stack up double-digit sack seasons. He had 2 in a row. I think he's going to continue to do that. But I'll say this. When you're the first pick in the draft, there's always criticism.
Well,
when you are 1-1, you're going to get criticized if you're anything shy of an MVP in a Super Bowl.
Well, that's exactly right. Myles Garrett's kind of ruined that for the edge pass rushers going number 1. Yeah. If you're not Myles Garrett you shouldn't have been the number 1 pick because that's the expectation.
Right. Yeah, but we'll see. We'll see if they make another move, if there's another move waiting for the Jaguars. We got headlines coming up in a minute, but feeling charitable?
I am. I love what you're about to give away.
It's a nice day.
Yeah.
It's hot out. Let's give away. What do you got? JJ, give me something. Give me something. You got something
a family So I got a prize for the whole family, folks. I got a family 4-pack of Jacksonville Axemen rugby tickets at Turf Field at UNF this Saturday, June 28th. So if you can get here by tomorrow and get the tickets, then be caller number 4 right now at 641-1010.
Caller number 4 going to see the Axemen. You love the Axemen.
I've been out there many, many times. Yeah. It is terrific. It is so much fun.
First time I went, I couldn't believe how much I enjoyed it.
Oh, man.
Yeah, same thing.
They are some physical dudes now, let me tell you.
You're exactly right. So caller 4, you're heading to see the Axemen, 641-1010. JJ's got headlines after this. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Choose your social channel. Twitter at 1010XL. Facebook at 1010XL. Instagram at 1010XL. TikTok at 1010XL. YouTube at 1010XL. 1010XL is there.
Hey, John, have you seen the exciting 2025 lineup at Randy Marion Cadillac?
They've got the Lyric, IQ, Optique, and the stunning Vistique. It's a Cadillac lover's dream.
And the best part, over 100 new Cadillacs are in stock and ready for you to drive home today.
Plus, it's the perfect time to trade in your Tesla and experience luxury and performance like never before.
Visit us today at Randy Marion Cadillac on Southside Boulevard in Jacksonville.
Don't miss out on these incredible vehicles. Your new Cadillac awaits.
Tell them Jennifer sent ya.
I'm Julie Harrell. I grew up here in Jacksonville and have seen our city grow as well as the number of car crashes. If you need help after a crash, choose a law firm with an actual office here. Lawyers you can meet with face-to-face and who specialize in personal injury. At Harrell & Harrell, we've been here for nearly 40 years, developing relationships with local doctors, law enforcement, helping people just like you. If you've been injured in a crash, call Harrell & Harrell. Offices, Jacksonville.
Hi, it's Frank Frangie. You hear my buddies Dan and Jeff talk about that great food at Daly's Dash all the time. Jeff loves that Duval and Dan loves the Boss. And they're right, both are terrific. But I can tell you they have so many excellent options at Daly's Dash. Salads and flatbreads and tacos and quesadillas, you name it. And of course, those fantastic subs and sandwiches. I just had the Italian sub. It is so good. The thing is, Daly's Dash is really committed to their food and committed to making it perfect for you. Everything is fresh, made to order every time. And there's so many Daly's locations in town, no matter where you are, there's one near you. I love to pop in and grab a sub at lunch, or maybe after a round of golf, or maybe even after calling one of those Jags games. There's never a bad time to stop into Daly's Dash and grab that great, great food. So head there today. Take it from Dan and Jeff, or take it from me. They say it's nicer here. It really is. And the food is delicious. Head to Daly's Dash today.
Hey, Hickett here for my friends at Zero Res. Gang, vacuuming is not sufficient to maintain the cleanliness and lifespan of your carpet, period. Do not, let me repeat, do not leave deep cleaning to yourself, but do-it-yourself dirt-attracting carpet soaking machines. No, no, no. Call on the cleaning freaks from Zero Res. Big summer savings. 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at $129. Take 20% off air duct cleaning as well. Call them, 904-287-5727, and ask for the 1010XL special. Zero Res. Spell it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
He thinks he knows what he's talking about.
Of course.
Find out if he does.
Is there anything else we need to know?
Catch CBS Sports senior NFL writer Pete Prisco every Friday afternoon on The Frangie Show. Brought to you by Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles.
Rick Ballou for Coy Dental. That's right, Carlson Dental is now Coy Dental. Dr. Lee has been practicing there for 9 years, has purchased the company. The Coy Dental team still has the same great dentists and staff. And remember, if you get nervous visiting a dentist, don't. There's never a problem at Coy Dental with light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation for all your restorative needs. Coy Dental, 2 locations in Jacksonville.
It's tune-up time, and Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars, wants to partner with you for a cool summer season. Tune up your AC unit right now so it's running at peak performance when you need it most. Just call 777-4300 and order a tune-up for just $59. Keep your unit humming at optimal level. Log on to FloridaHomeAC.com and take advantage of their savings. Keep cool with Florida Home AC. That's 777-4300.
Meet John and Ben Lupo, first and second generation owners of Jacksonville's Beards Diamonds.
We can do things that these corporate stores cannot do. Make decisions on the spot. Our pricing is better than anybody else's. We do not do commissions.
We really try to keep it a family environment, relaxed. We're not trying to sell you what we want. We're trying to listen to what you want.
In fact, don't be surprised if you end up spending less at Beards than you had budgeted, because they're going to teach you how to buy a diamond like a dealer buys and show you how to buy smart.
If we can save the consumer money, we're all about that. If we can achieve the same look, the same quality, and for them to spend less, that's what Beards is built on.
Why pay more if you don't have to?
Dad always taught me from day one is you got to look at the diamond. You can't just buy off of paperwork. Rather than us just saying, hey, this one's $7,000, the other one's $10,000, we're going to tell the consumer why this one's $7,000, then why this is $3,000 less but almost looks identical.
Don't overpay at the Wall Street-owned corporate chain. Get the transparency and value you deserve at Beards at the St. John Town Center.
Maxed out on credit cards, struggling with high-interest debt? You could pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Prosser here. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan Program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated their kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. That's Loan Pronto. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy, low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is an A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Call now and start the conversation. Go to loanpronto.com or call 999-1508. That's loanpronto.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Gather round. It's Hayes' Headlines, presented by Harrell and Harrell. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Hear all about it. Here's Hayes Carline.
All right, JJ's Headlines once again. We'll start with the NBA, which is very rare for us, but it was a big night in the NBA last night. Big night for the Gators. NBA draft, of course, Cooper Flagg went number 1. Absolutely no surprise. Ron Harper's son went number 2. But that's sort of when the draft started, and everyone was asking, like, when's this guy Ace Bailey? Who, by the way, best name in the draft by far. Ace Bailey, I love that.
Yep.
Danny Ainge, who's sort of known for, like, taking guys like a Walter Clayton Jr., like known guys who have played in college, who have done something. He sort of went against his own thing and took Ace Bailey. And Ace Bailey was originally like doing his best to not go to a team like Utah. He didn't work out for him. He didn't look happy when he got drafted by him. But yeah, Danny Ainge with 2 big moves last night took not only Ace Bailey, but the Gators' own Walter Clayton Jr.
Yeah, all kind of fun things happened today. Number 1, I learned that Danny Ainge runs the Utah Jazz. So there's that. Look, I said it yesterday on the program. So many of my Gator buddies, so many Gators on social media were all caught up in this. I will tell you, when Noah, Horford, and Brewer were all going to be in the top 10 of the draft, it was cool, but it was different. Yeah, there's something different about this one. And so I'm real excited about it, Hacker. Now that I'm going to have 2 season tickets on the floor. If you ever want to join, just let me know.
Have you ever been to Salt Lake City? Either one of you guys?
You know what? Of all the traveling we've done, particularly in the Rocky Mountain era, never been to Salt Lake City.
I know this. I've never waited for the NBA schedule to come out to see when the Utah Jazz were coming to Orlando.
Correct.
I think Frangie and I might have a mandate down there to Central Florida this year.
You can book that right now.
You should bring your buddy. What's your buddy's name? You guys both. Remember, you were telling me the story the other day.
Which one? Oh, Drew. Yeah, you know what? In fact, Drew's drive. By the way, it's now decided.
Absolutely.
There's 3 tickets. Hey, I'll buy Drew Drives.
That's a great plan. And I'll tell you this too, real quick. You mentioned
Drew made the show twice this week.
Drew loves it. He heard it, by the way, earlier in the week. You mentioned Ron Harper's son. How about this from Darren Ravel last night? Dylan Harper.
This is good.
Ron Harper, starting point guard on the 96 Bulls, the 01 Lakers, a really good player.
Good player.
Made $35 million for his career. His son, his rookie contract, worth $56 million.
Isn't that amazing?
That is unbelievable.
Yeah, and Ron Harper, by the way, was a very good player on the Cavs even before all the Blazers. He was a very good player. Good point.
All right, a couple more things from the draft last night. I don't know if you knew this. The Nets had 5 picks, and they used them all in the first round last night. And even crazier than that, they took 4 guards.
Yeah.
It's just like the most Netsy thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, the Nets are probably, the Clippers were this for the longest time
or the Grizzlies.
before they got good. Yeah, the Nets are probably the most irrelevant team almost in NBA. If you don't count Dr. J and the ABA before they came to the NBA, they're probably the most irrelevant team in league history, right?
And even when they had a good team, they still were second in their own town to the Knicks, and they always will be.
Brian Windhorst on ESPN last night, JJ, I don't know if you saw this. I bet he might regret doing it now. They're in the midst of their draft coverage, and he says he's getting texts from executives around the league basically saying, what the blank are the Nets doing? They were laughing at him. Like, what are they doing? This is nonsense.
Another team that people are destroying is the Pelicans, who traded up 10 spots, but they traded their next year's unprotected pick, which is insane because they're going to suck.
And they get Derek Queen. We know about Derek Queen.
Well, he better be good because that's who they traded up for.
Yeah. Wow. Interesting stuff.
And so one more thing on ESPN's coverage. People were killing them for ESPN. They employ Bob Myers, who's the guy who basically created like the Warriors dynasty. And instead of having him on the draft coverage last night, they had like Kendrick Perkins and some WNBA lady, and it's just ESPN cannot get out of their own way with some of their coverage.
Yeah, and I will tell you, I didn't listen close enough to know if they were botching that. I really didn't. I'll tell you what I did like. And obviously it bit the South Carolina guy in the butt, I suppose.
Oh, that was good.
But I liked the fact that instead of everybody tucked away in a green room in the back, they're all just in this big arena.
Yeah, and they're mic'd up pretty much.
I kind of like that. Again, tell people what happened.
Is it Colin Murray Boyles? So he gets drafted by Toronto, and so they got the camera on the guy, and as he's getting his name called, he stands up and just drops a expletive.
Yeah.
And people thought
a negative expletive.
A very negative expletive. The granddaddy of all negative expletives. It's an adjective, an adverb, a noun, a pronoun. It can be used in a variety of different ways.
Yeah, people are taking it as a negative, but it could be taken as like a sigh of relief.
Yeah, the thought was he was saying that because he got drafted by Toronto.
Right.
He basically had to clarify that because he was asked about it in the press conference.
I'm sure. That would be the first question if I'm Toronto media. Okay, let's go to the NFL. We talked about this last segment, but quickly, there was an article by Aaron Schatz who said if the Jags should do one last move, we talked about it, they should sign Jadeveon Clowney, but a couple of other names he threw in there. Matthew Judon, Preston Smith, or Zadarius Smith. Any of those pop out at you?
Yeah, and again, we talked about it because pass rushers, for whatever reason, often go late before camp. Clowney for me. Judon had some moments, but they were those Patriots moments. Of the 4, I would agree with Schatz. Clowney would be the guy.
Now, I don't want to put words in your mouth, Frank, but are you saying that right now, Hines Allen, Walker, Agba, are you concerned they don't have enough to affect the opposing quarterback?
I think they have 2 very good starters. I don't know enough about what Agba, Smoot, others will give them.
McLeod,
Miles Cole. I don't have a good enough feel yet for what they will give them.
Yeah.
I would say this. I've been impressed enough with this front office, their boldness, their decisiveness, that they will have a pretty good opinion on that. I will say the fact that the 3 guys that they got most recently are all edge guys tells me they're not quite sure of that question you just asked me. So I'm not going to. I don't know enough. By the way, I think they think Agba's going to help him. Of the 3 guys, he was the first of the 3.
I know Campanelli really likes him.
Yeah, apparently they think Agba's going to help him, and if he does. But as far as the other guys, I don't know that. There's no way I would have seen enough to know.
Just talking out loud here, could Devin Lloyd potentially be in play as a type of guy to get to the quarterback?
I don't think so.
No?
I think if that potential existed, because obviously he did it at Utah. If that potential existed, I think we would have seen it by now. I think Devin Lloyd has a lot to prove. Now, he started by coming in great shape. He will be in great shape in camp. He looked to me like he was 25, 30 pounds lighter in OTAs and minicamp. We were out there, but he's got a lot to prove, Hack. And I don't sense that there's much belief that part of that will be as a pass rusher.
I talked to him after one of the minicamp practices, and he was very blunt. I asked him flat out about not getting picked up for the team option, getting his option declined.
The fifth-year option.
The fifth-year option.
That first-rounders get, right.
And he said, and he understood it. It's a business. He would have liked to have seen it picked up, but it's a motivating factor. It's a contract year now for Devin Lloyd, and we know how most NFL players perform when they're in a contract year.
Yeah, I'm rooting for him. He's a really likable dude.
Very likable.
Very respected in the locker room, very respected by coaches, teammates. But I don't know if I'm convinced he's going to be part of the future. I hope so for his sake, but I don't know if I'm convinced.
All right, my favorite headline of the day. Me and Hack actually off the air talked a little about this last night. George Pickens, who we all know got traded, I guess, a couple months back to the Cowboys. He had a camp scheduled in the Pittsburgh area for this summer, and it was called the George Pickens Youth Football Camp, okay? So when he gets traded, they ask his representatives, like, hey, we understand he got traded. Is he still going to be here for the camp? And they were like, yeah, we definitely will. Well, he decided yesterday he won't be.
Oh.
So George Pickens will not be at the George Pickens Youth Football Camp, and Pat Freiermuth had to step in. Listen, great tight end, but if I'm a kid, I'm a little disappointed.
They actually backed it up a week. They didn't have a guy right away, so they're still having it. They had to back it up a week and then put Freiermuth in there.
What a terrible look for George Pickens.
Yeah. And apparently, by the way, and I tell you guys this all the time, I read all this Pittsburgh stuff, right? I read all this stuff, every Pirates thing I can get, which means I read Penguins and Steelers and high schools and Pitt and all that. I get more Duquesne. I get more of that than I really care about. But apparently, he was really a dog.
Oh,
didn't work, didn't care.
Oh yeah, even like on the field, you could see that he gave up on so many plays.
Yeah, apparently that's who he was this whole time there.
I get getting traded, but you have kids coming to your camp, the George Pickens camp. You get your butt back up to Pittsburgh,
or just tell them no, you won't be there, and then there's no difficulty, and they no one's upset that you had to cancel the camp because you got traded. Just don't say you're going to be there and then not show up. All right. Justin Tucker, who was released from the Ravens, I guess, a month or so ago. He's now been suspended 10 games for sexual misconduct allegations. Is his career over?
I can't imagine that it's not. And the thing is, at one point, I thought he was the greatest kicker in the history of the sport.
Not too long ago.
Yeah. And he faded. He faded a little on the field.
Right.
And then all the off-field stuff. I can't imagine, Deshaun Watson, who was guilty or accused of the same stuff, gets another chance because he was a 20-something quarterback.
Right.
Justin Tucker is not a quarterback in his 20-somethings. I can't imagine that he's going to get much of a chance again.
And look, he was one of the best kickers in the league. He wasn't last year. Now, whether it was all the stuff off the field that was affecting him on the field, I don't know. But you saw a decline a little bit. Now you have this 10-game suspension on top of that. I would be borderline shocked if we ever see Justin Tucker on another NFL field.
All right, let's go to Major League Baseball. A lot of stuff happening last night and today. We'll start with last night. DeGrom. I mean, a lot of people think this guy disappeared. He's back, and he's pitching amazingly. He took a perfect game last night into the 7th inning. Of course, I immediately tweet out as I'm watching here, like, hey, put it on, guys. And he gives up a walk and a hit almost immediately. But great outing for Jacob DeGrom.
Last Saturday, he pitched against the Pirates. So, I watch every inning of every Pirate game. He still got it now.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know because the game against the Pirates last Saturday was his first game back. And maybe it was the Sunday. Saturday, Sunday. It was his first game back. And I said, I'm going to watch to see what's left. Oh, boy, he looked good.
And he's got his full arsenal of pitches back. Speaking of Jacob DeGrom, the Mets, his former team, finally beat the Braves last night. I told you they would. They jumped on the rookie Fuentes. And, good for them. They're 2-10 in their last 12 games. And last baseball headline of the day, Ronald Acuna Jr. is set to be in the Home Run Derby. He was the first player announced this year because it will be in Atlanta in front of his hometown crowd. I love that.
Number one, Acuna, I am too. it's really a shame the injuries that have happened to Ronald Acuna, because he's a great player. I mean, pre-injury, not a good player. He's a great player. And by the way, the Metropolitans head to the banks of the Allegheny for the next 3 days. I don't know if you knew that or not, JJ.
I didn't.
So the pain might be continuing.
Well, they actually play tonight. There's a 4-game series, so the Mets play the Braves again tonight. Okay. And that series starts on Friday.
Then they head to the banks.
Yes. Quickly, I guess we should give Hack's team a shout-out. Your boy Shane Baz, former Pirate.
Yeah.
8 scoreless innings today as the Rays blank the Royals 4-0.
We're at the midway point. We're 81 in.
Very good.
Yeah.
Now we're 46 and 35. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, and by the way, just so you know, let me repeat it one more time. Shane Baz is on the Rays because they got Chris Archer, and in return, the Pirates gave them Baz, Tyson Glasnow, and Austin Meadows. The word was that the Pirates also wanted to throw in Clemente and Stargell, but they weren't around anymore.
Crazy.
And in true Rays fashion, Tyler Glasnow doesn't even play for them anymore.
Right,
They also traded him.
I mean, this is so far above me when it comes to Major League Baseball knowledge, but is Kevin Cash the manager of the year right now?
I think
Gotta be up there.
Yes, and I think he's the best manager in baseball right now. I mean, Dave Roberts has players. The other managers who are successful players. I think Kevin Cash has been the best manager in baseball for a while. And I think right now, and the GM, Eric, whatever his name is, I mean, they are about as good at what they do as anybody anywhere. They really are.
All right, let's go to golf. Colin Morikawa, who, I mean, I guess we'd all consider him one of the greats, but he has been struggling mightily lately. He's just fired his second caddy in as many months, really. And he got a little testy with the media yesterday. It's very inside golf, like what they were even arguing about. I don't even want to bring it up. It's that dumb. But he's sort of losing it. And he shot 69 today, 3 under. It's only tied for like 50-something place. Are you worried about Colin Morikawa?
I tell you what my comparison is. Guys like young guys that are megastars early. I saw it with Jordan Spieth. I saw it with Bryce Harper in baseball. There's guys like that so much is expected early on, and then when they set the bar so high, whether it's because of how big of a prospect they were or how good they were right out of the gate, and then it doesn't happen, those are the guys the pressure's really on because they're still in their 20s, and people are wondering, why is he not Tiger? Why is, I think I see that happen a lot, and I think Morikawa's going there. He's a really good player, but he hasn't taken the next step. And because he's so good and he set the bar for himself so high, he's being criticized, and sometimes that's hard. I think that's what Colin Morikawa is going through.
We talk about, right now, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson being in the Mahomes universe, just like Karl Malone and Barkley and all those guys were in the Jordan universe. Just unfortunate timing. Is it just unfortunate timing that Morikawa is in the Scotty Scheffler universe?
Well, that too. Well, but he arrived before Scheffler.
Yeah, that's fair.
But again, Hayes and I have this talk all the time. There's this litany of next Tigers, okay? Spieth, JT, Dustin Johnson, now Morikawa and Schauffele, and there's this list of guys that are supposed to be the next great one. Well, Scheffler passed them all. They all came before Scheffler, and I think that's part of it. Yeah, I do.
All right, let's move on to the last one. Music note of the day.
Yeah.
Elvis Presley, my cousin, of course, is today's music of the day because on this day in 1977, Elvis played his very last live show in Indianapolis.
Wow.
Unfortunately, the king would die a couple months later.
Yeah, really sad. I've told this story before, too. My mom and her friend Irene saw Elvis right before he died. Wow. Probably a few months before this. And one of my mom's great thrills is she didn't get to go to a lot of concerts. She saw Elvis in person. Elvis was great. It's sad the way the Elvis story ended.
Absolutely.
It really, really is. Great work, JJ. As always, we'll be back. We'll wrap the program after this.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
This is Brent Musburger's Visa in Action update on 1010XL. Brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. When you're stuck, call the Duck. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
As Major League Baseball gets closer and closer to its All-Star break, Seattle's Cal Raleigh is now the betting favorite to win the regular season home run title. Raleigh is at plus 120. Aaron Judge of the New York Yankees plus 135. Shohei Ohtani of the Los Angeles Dodgers plus 400. Kyle Schwarber of the Phillies long shot at plus 3,300. Eugenio Suarez of the Diamondbacks plus 5,000. Garrett Crochet of the Boston Red Sox minus 160 to be the regular season strikeout leader. Tarek Skubal of the Detroit Tigers plus 400. Zach Wheeler of the Philadelphia Phillies plus 500. Earn cash back on your gaming transactions with the GBank Signature Visa Card at vsin.com/GBank. I'm Tony Desiri with your Visa in Action update on 1010XL.
Attention business owners and property managers. Hurricane season is right around the corner. Is your property ready? Call the pros at Duck Rooter for expert storm drain cleaning and hydrojetting. Our powerful VACCON truck clears the way so your drains flow freely when the rain hits. Call 904-862-6769 today to schedule your service and protect your property before the storms start rolling in. Duck Rooter, your trusted name in storm drain maintenance. Visit us at duckduckrooter.com. We are a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
This is Richard Miller with your Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles update. It's been an active few months of in-store signings at Showtime, and our next one will be with Jags corner Jarian Jones on Tuesday, July 15th. The FSU alum will be signing from 5 to 7 p.m. on July 15th at Showtime. Sports Cards and Collectibles. Update your collection.
Our son Eric's a Division I collegiate baseball pitcher who is having shoulder pain. We took him to Southeast Orthopedic Specialists and are confident that he's now on the road to recovery. This is Beth Anderson, and we love the care Eric receives at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Sports fans, this is David Garrard here. And if you're suffering from orthopedic soreness, make an appointment at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists where everyone is treated like a pro.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Hey folks, Rick Ballou here for John's Auto. They've been a staple in Jacksonville going all the way back to 1985. At John's Auto, they service all makes, all models, cars, trucks, diesel, you name it, they do it. Whether it's routine maintenance or a complete engine overhaul. Call John's Auto on Arlington Road. That's 904-743-3857 or go to johnsautomotivejacks.com.
Soft takes are boring. That's why I dropped the hammer on the Frangie Show. I'm Hayes Carlion. Listen for Hammer Time with Hayes, weekday afternoons on 1010XL.
Hammer Time with Hayes, driven by Kia on Atlantic.
Committed to the mission. At Navy Mutual, we're committed to providing high-quality life insurance to members of the military and their families. Because at Navy Mutual, our highest commitment is to you. Visit NavyMutual.org.
This 4th of July, Navy Mutual would like to salute Joe DiMaggio as our hero in sports. Nicknamed the Yankee Clipper, you know Joe for his record 56-game hitting streak that may never be touched. But he was also a sergeant during World War II.
For a lot of us, saving up a down payment can be the biggest barrier to buying a home. So Rocket Mortgage is lowering down payments to 1% for eligible home buyers with One Plus. Because everyone deserves their shot at the American dream. Call 800-4ROCKET or visit rocket.com to get a head start on your starter home.
Rocket Mortgage, LLC, licensed in all 50 states. NMLSconsumeraccess.org, number 3030.
Brackish Vodka, the spirit of the sportsman and proud partner of the Jaguars, is poured at Southern Coast Seafood, now open Mondays. Enjoy craft for $12.99 a pound on Tuesdays. Drink Brackish Wednesdays with $1 oyster on the half shell. Brackish Vodka is the first clean craft vodka made right here in Jacksonville for whatever your sport is. If your sport is crab at Southern Coast, your vodka is Brackish. Southern Coast Seafood, now open Mondays. Brackish Vodka, proud partner of the Jaguars.
With Lee and Kate's glass, you're gonna see a big difference.
Hey, it's Frank Frangie. Look, when it comes to glass needs around the home, there's one name I trust, Lee and Kate's. It's local, family-owned, and they've been part of our community since 1926. They've taken great care of me over the years, and I know they'll do the same for you. Visit leeandkatesglass.com.
With Lee and Kate's glass, you're gonna see a big difference.
Are you struggling with hair loss? At IHRS, we understand because we've been there too. We're dedicated to finding the best solution tailored just for you.
My hair looks great. It was thinning, and IHRS restored my hair.
It's now fuller, it's thicker, voluminous. It's made me feel great.
With the latest technology and FDA-approved laser therapy, PRP, and non-surgical hair addition, we offer guaranteed solutions for men and women. With over 35 years of experience, IHRS found a hair restoration for us, and we can find one for you.
For me.
For me.
And me too.
Visit hairforme.com or call 904-777-IHRS. Get a free microscopic analysis and get to the root of your problem. This $395 analysis is yours for free. Call 904-777-4477 now.
Lucas Tree Service is a certified arborist and a local family-owned business with over 45 years of experience. They specialize in tree removal, trimming, and stump grinding for both residential and commercial properties. Get prepared for storm season and receive top-notch customer service from Lucas Tree Service, 904-241-3533. Online at lucastreeservice.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the Cool Down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
All right, fun show today. We talked NBA draft, my favorite team. I got the tickets now. Walter Clayton goes to the Utah Jazz. Ace Bailey went there too, but I don't really care about that. But we certainly thought about that. And my buddy Lee Smith came in today. He does a terrific job. He is the executive director of the Players Championship. Really good golf analyst. Talked golf with him. That was good to have him by. And we talked about some Jaguar issues. Should the Jags sign a guy like Jadeveon Clowney? And a couple other issues we got to as well on the program today. All right. So you get the afternoon off tomorrow. You're going to be with Lauren Brooks in the daytime, right?
Yeah. Going to be on from 12 o'clock to 2 o'clock tomorrow with Lauren. Looking forward to that. And then, of course, I'll have Hacker After Dark both tonight and tomorrow.
Poor Lauren. She thought she was off. She thought her week ended at 2 o'clock. We're going to drag her out to Big Chief Tire tomorrow.
Oh, Lauren's doing double, too. How about that?
Lauren's got the double duty. You and Lauren both have double duty tomorrow. So
it's about time somebody had to do what Hack's doing.
Exactly.
Come on, Lauren.
Yeah, so Lauren will be out there with me tomorrow. We will be at the brand new Big Chief Tire location in Mandarin. And
it's a home game for me. I might stop by and
come say hello.
Shake hands and break bread.
You're always welcome. So, but Lauren Brooks is going to, Hacker will be with Lauren. We didn't think it was fair to ask Hacker to do 3 shifts tomorrow. So Hacker's going to do Lauren with Helmets and Heels with her, and then he'll be on tomorrow night with his shift. Lauren's going to do Helmets and Heels and be on with me and my shift. But we're looking forward to it. The Big Chief Tire people are such good people. They really are. It's a bunch of superstars in the business, man. The Parman family, I like them so much, and we respect them so much. And they certainly have been loyal to our cause, and we can't wait to get it. It's their 6th location now. It's the second time they opened Orange Park.
Good for them.
A year or so ago, and now they're opening Mandarin. Yeah, so we can't wait to get out to Big Chief Tire. So if you're in the Mandarin area, Big Chief opened this week. That location opened this week. So come by and say hello. There's going to be some fun giveaways, and you'll get to meet a lot of nice folks. And again, it's always great to have Lauren on the road with us. So we're looking forward to that. And that comes up tomorrow, live from Big Chief Tire Company. So we're certainly excited about that. So, and then next week, just when you thought you had the Frangie Show in your rearview mirror, you're stuck with 5 more days.
Yeah, get me and Carline on the Frangie Show.
You and Carline. You're going to be so tired of us. So Heidi is gone.
Yeah, Heidi's gone for another week and a half. She had a business trip to New Hampshire, but because her parents live in Maine, she took Forrest to Maine. He's obviously on summer break. She can work remote. So, yeah, she's gone for another week and a half or so.
Yeah, when's her birthday?
What a life this man
When's her birthday?
Her birthday is, unfortunately, I guess it's tomorrow, so I will not be with her for her birthday.
How about fortunately, bro?
So you hang on a second. You pulled off my wife's out of town on her birthday, so I don't have to do anything for her. And you just said, unfortunately?
But because,
You're living in paradise, bro.
Maybe. But we
just saved yourself a few hundo.
We had a fun summer in Vegas, and we're going down to Orlando in a couple of weeks with my mom and stepdad. So we'll make up for it. But happy early birthday, sweetheart.
Yeah, so there you go. So, and I know you're excited for them. to them to come back.
I'd have my feet up.
He will too. Who you kidding? Okay?
Listen, like, shoes on the coffee table, cigar smoke in the house,
laundry on the floor.
Yeah, exactly. 3-day-old boxers on, no problem.
Boy, I tell you what, that is quite the sight. That's quite the entertaining and enticing thought.
You've been married forever. I've been married a decade. JJ's picked this up pretty quick.
He has. He's a quick learner.
Yeah.
He's a quick learner.
She doesn't give me any alone time. She loves me too much.
He knows a lot of married people. I think that's what
Yes.
it is. All right, big story of the day. Walter Clayton Jr. To the Magic. We now have the road trip. I mean, to the Magic. To the Jazz. When they play the Magic, we now have the road trip planned.
We need to do a 10-10XL event that night. That'd be something.
Well, long as Drew drives.
Yeah, if Drew drives, we're good
Last
to go.
time I was around Drew, it was a 10-10XL event.
It was.
We certainly have covered that before. So there will be no bowling in this trip, I would imagine. So, but other than that, I think we'll have a good time. So, but it's exciting times, by the way. So, and I will say this, joking aside, it will be fun to follow and see how good a pro he'll be. I don't know. I don't know if he'll be a very good professional player, but I do think it's going to be fun to follow and watch.
I just hope they'll Jazz again. They have worked out Elijah Martin twice. I just hope I get a reaction shot from Frangie.
Yeah.
If the Jazz draft Elijah Martin tonight, your head might explode.
Oh no!
If it's Walter Clayton and Elijah Martin with the Jazz,
I've already bought 2 season tickets. Do I have to buy 2 more? Would I have to upgrade my season ticket intake?
Think about of all the teams he could have gone to for if Gator fans want to transform in NBA fans. Could there be a more obscure team in Jacksonville, Florida than the Utah Jazz?
Well, again, because I do this for a living, I try to know some stuff about sports. I think that's kind of a prerequisite to the job. I very honestly admitted to you at 4:02 Eastern, I had no idea that Danny Ainge was running the Utah Jazz. I didn't know. I had no idea that Danny Ainge was running the Utah Jazz.
Was the last Jazz game you watched Game 6 of the 1998 NBA
Had to be.
Finals?
Yeah, he's right. Yeah.
Did Jordan push off on Byron Russell?
Byron Russell. If you want me to, Jazz, you want me to keep watching, then stop him. Make a play.
Exactly.
Make a stop. Yes, that probably is the last time I did. So, all right, let's say hello to our pal Rick below.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. CoolCatsJacks.com.
The coolest cats in town.
Did you know Danny Ainge was running the Utah Jazz?
I did not.
I did not know.
No.
I did not know that. I knew that he brought Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett to join Paul Pierce with the Celtics. I knew that part.
Do you know who bit Danny Ainge?
Who bit Danny? Yes, remember that?
He got rabies right on the parquet floor.
Do you remember that? No, he did. Who?
Atlanta Hawks. He did. He started flipping out.
Yes, he did.
He was like
He did. Who?
Linda Blair from The Exorcist.
I do. Who?
I'm almost positive it was Kevin Willis.
Was it Kevin Willis?
Yeah.
Okay,
I was going to say Dominique Wilkins or Kevin Willis. That's what I got for you for the 80s Hawks.
But that's right. Remember that?
Danny Ainge would get under your skin.
Yeah.
And a lot of people forget he actually had a cup of coffee with the Toronto Blue Jays.
4 years.
Yeah.
He was actually up for 4 years.
He was a very, very, he was before Jackson and Dion and all those. He was a legitimate two-star athlete.
Yeah, he was actually up for 4 years.
Sport athlete.
And made one of the great plays, one of the great runs in NCAA history that dribbled the length of the court.
Is he going to give Clayton Jr. some picks, maybe some tips, maybe the crossover? Or
yes, I hope he does.
How to prevent getting bit?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. And by the way, Austin Ainge he's now the director of operations for the Jazz. Look, I'm giving you nothing but information here, okay?
Can you tell me what's going on with Eric Ainge, please? Who I believe was a nephew. I think Eric, the former Tennessee quarterback, Eric Ainge.
I remember him very well. I remember him beating the Gators and leading the band, okay?
Beating the Gators? Until the last couple of years, that had only happened like twice in the last 20 years.
And he had one of them.
Okay.
Remember, he led the band. Was that Casey Clausen?
That was Clausen.
Oh, my bad.
That was Clausen.
My bad. Casey Clausen.
I've tried to blank
They're
that
all
out
the
of my
same
mind.
guy. They're big tall guys.
Peyton Manning never beat him.
No, I've told this story before. I was at the SEC Media Days on Peyton's senior year, his 4th year there, and he had a good personality even then. I asked the question. I said, Peyton, we're from Florida. Gator fans are a big fan of yours. He goes, why wouldn't they like me? He said, I've never beaten him in 3 tries.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, my first trip to Knoxville was 96, and that was supposed to be like the game of the year.
Right.
Before I sat down, it was 28-0 Florida.
It was 35-0 at one point.
And Tennessee came back.
You could not build the exits big enough for those Tennessee fans to waddle out of there.
Didn't that
28-0.
Didn't it end like 35-29?
I think it did. Yeah.
35-29.
Furious comeback.
Yeah, well, it's 35-29, but the 29th point came on the last play of the game.
Okay.
It was 35-22, and they scored on literally the last play of the game. So what's coming up tonight?
We're going to break down the whole entire Clausen family. We're going to start with that and get after a little bit. I watched a lot of practice over the last month with Tom McManus, so getting an opportunity to catch up with him tonight. We're going to do that. I got a football question, which I'm going to share with the audience. And, it's really intriguing to see what's going on right now in golf. The PGA Tour, the LIV, the new commissioner who's going to come in, they talk about changing the golf ball, changing the golf equipment. So my buddy Rick Shoemaker, our golf analyst, is going to join us as well. We'll put a golf talk coming up later in the program.
All right, coming up, Rick Ballou goes into the night, and that happens right now. Hack, we've enjoyed it. You've done a great job with us all week long, man. Enjoy Helmets and Heels in your 2 shifts tomorrow, and I know you'll be with Hayes all week next week. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Frank.
That'll do it for what's coming up tonight? What do you got? Who's on?
Yeah. We got Jason Beatty, the Orlando Sentinel, live from the Orlando Magic War Room, basically, as they get ready for round number 2.
Okay.
That's coming up on Hacker After Dark.
All right, Hacker After Dark tonight after Rick Ballou goes into the night. For JJ and Hacker, I'm Frank Frangie. So long.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the